with great sexual power doesn't always come with great sexual discipline, but with great sexual discipline often comes with great sexual power. And the reason for that is because when you have sexual discipline, you usually have a better understanding of who you are, what you're about, why you're here, and you have a purpose and a sense of presence that is just beyond anything else because you have a unique energetic signature at this point. And people are never going to be able to replicate you to the fullest degree that they want to because you're just who you are. And nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can hurt you for that. And so on this Semen Retention Sunday episode, which welcome everybody for another Semen Retention Sunday episode here on the Regal Change channel. And I want to talk today about why your mysterious sex appeal will increase and why it's so appealing to more women when you're on retention. And this goes in line with women that are actually celibate as well. If you have met a woman, which I've only met a few, but if you've met a woman that is genuinely pure, that is actually feminine, and she's not super revealing, she's kind of quiet, she sticks to herself, she has a soft tone, she speaks softly, she's not a loud, boisterous, obnoxious woman that's always trying to get the attention of anybody that she can. She is, again, modest and meek and humble, which, again, haven't seen very many women like that. But the ones that I have seen, you'll know, and the ones that you've seen, you'll know. They have a very odd appeal to them, a very odd sex appeal. It's like this woman is not very, she might not even be the most beautiful woman in the world, right? But she has more sex appeal than the woman that's sexy. And why is that? Well, because she is authentically herself. She knows who she is, and she knows what she's about, and she knows what she will or will not do. And when you're on semen retention, there are going to be similar things that are going to happen with you that you need to look out for, as just part of being responsible for your increase of sexual appeal. Because if you don't, there's going to be some things that happen where you might not be able to have control over the power that you have. And in doing so, you're going to give into the lust, you're going to give into the temptations, and it's not going to really end well for many people in general as a whole. Why is this? Well, because sometimes when you're on retention and just in life in general, if your awareness is expanding and you're constantly growing, but you're not allowing the recovery time to have these kinds of revelations or implement certain challenges that, well, at least were once challenges and now you've learned from those. If you don't have the time it takes to actually implement into these things and to apply them in your life, it's going to be not a good mixture. Okay, it's kind of like, you guys ever seen those Mentos in soda pop or whatever, where they drop the Mentos in soda pop and the soda just explodes everywhere? Yeah, that's going to be you with certain kinds of spiritual interactions and revelations. Is if you don't have the proper container to allow the space for this revelation or this newfound understanding to take place, well, then you're just going to lose the energy. It's just going to spill everywhere. And if you're a conduit as a body, if you're thinking about the body as a conduit and a vessel for the Most High, you're not going to be able to handle this kind of power. It's going to just go everywhere, and then you're going to lose the power anyway. So you have to make sure that you're able to harness the power and you have the space internally to do so. And so that's why I say your mysterious sex appeal is going to increase, as well as you've got to just be mindful of how it's used, because you will experience this if you're on semen retention for, I would say, more than 2 weeks is really a pretty solid point in which I've seen most men that are doing this intentionally with the purpose of growing closer to God. I've seen men like this where 2 weeks is really the point where they start to see more benefits. And I don't like to say that word benefits. The main reason is because you're just coming into the person that God's made you to be. But so it's not really a benefit. It's just you're realizing everything that you could have been all the time and all the while. And now you're stepping into it. So it's not necessarily a benefit. It's just you're not experiencing the deficit, really. Maybe that's a better way to think about it. But all of the men that are just doing this to get women and to have that sex appeal, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I've seen this time and time again with men that are only on retention to just get the women and such. It's not going to work. And don't get me wrong, the sex appeal thing is fantastic. It's great because it's about your presence that matters to these women out here. It's about, are you able to stand up for yourself and to stand up to them in a way that is calm, cool, collected, and you're not shaken off your square? That's going to be very attractive to them. And the reason being is because, biologically speaking, you're going to be the one that has the most provisions and resources available when shit hits the fan. When things get real, you're going to be the person that understands completely how to do what and where to go where and what to do and when to do it. And those are going to be the most important aspects of a survival from a woman's perspective. And she's going to see you as that kind of person because you know, and she knows that you know, that you're going to put your longevity and yourself first. When you put yourself as your mental focal point of origin, it turns women on in a way that they don't want to admit. And this is one of the reasons why you're going to be so mysterious, especially because the more that you retain and the longer you retain, it's almost like you come into a place in your soul and your spirit and your body where they completely align in a way that you never experienced before, you never thought was even possible. And so you're just being who you are, and you're going to be naturally just being able to choose which women are going to be worth your time and which are not, just by a natural instinct and interaction with them. And to be fair, most of these women are not worth your time. To be fair, most of them are not worth your time. But also for a lot of the women out there, a lot of men are not worth their time. And so women's standards are going higher, I think, as a subconscious mechanism so that men can start to rise up to the standard more, to just, let the cream of the crop rise up. But the issue with that is that women's standards are not always going to be based on sex appeal openly. However, sex appeal is going to be way more important than any kind of resources or anything that you have. And people may not understand what I mean by that. And what I mean to say is that your status, your materials, what you have is not really that important. What is important is, are you able to make her feel wanted in a way where she feels sexy and she also feels like she can be who she is around you? And you're not going to necessarily judge her. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't judge as a man, and vet a woman, but never make it come off as like you are judging her. But I make discernments and spiritual understandings about a woman all the time. I can tell just by a brief interaction, maybe 5 minutes, that okay, the energy here, what's exactly happening, based off of the words that she's speaking and how she's talking. What is her mannerisms like? I can tell the socioeconomic status of people in general, not just women, how they interact and what they're saying, the words that they're prescribing under the conversation. And I can also tell just how much soul they really have. You know, when looking in their eyes, do their eyes have a little light to them and a shimmer in the back of their eyes, or is it a bit more dark? And is there a lot of mysteriousness in the way that you don't want to know about? you don't want to know about that kind of darkness. But as a man, it's okay to have a little bit of darkness to you. In fact, it's more appropriate. You need to be more disagreeable as a man, but not necessarily rude. You know, be disagreeable, but you're not trying to be an asshole here. That's not the point. You want to be disagreeable to the degree in which you stand up for who you are and what you believe on, and stand on principle, while not infiltrating or forcing other people to follow what you are. That's the key to leadership, really. And you want to be able to make sure that you're maximizing praise to other people and minimizing critiques as far as what you're saying openly, because you can make certain judgments or discernments. Like I said, you can make certain judgments or discernments about women and how to move. And semen retention is going to give you this ability to just naturally get it. You know, you're just going to naturally be able to feel and instinctually feel how a woman is responding to you, and if she's responding well or not. And if you don't see this, you're either focused too much on the woman and not enough on your own life, or there's some kind of disconnect between your own mind and your biological instincts. Because I genuinely think that if people got more involved back with their instincts and their behaviors, not necessarily like be more animal-like, but be more animal-like, be more accepting of, we were given instincts and intuition for a reason. Don't ignore those things. If your gut is telling you something, don't ignore that. If your body's telling you something in general, don't ignore that when you're interacting with these people. And this is one of the reasons why you're going to be so mysterious, is because usually people that are on semen retention for an extended period of time, and I've been on retention since May of 2022 now, and you know, there's been some wet dreams here and there, but I don't really count wet dreams because it's happening when you're unconscious. And sure, there's going to be a release, but it's not going to be overt and conscious, like you're consciously choosing. And that's part of the purification process, because for so many years, men have been, and women, but more so men, have been consumed by corn, and the effects of there have been catastrophic in regard to the mental health of the society. People are so full of lust that they've become empty. That's really what I've noticed. And so it's important to understand sex appeal, and it's important to understand these things, but it's also important to realize that there's something more to this. There's something more to this practice. And it's okay to want more from the practice. A lot of people are scared of the power they get on semen retention because they have never gotten this kind of attention before. They've never gotten this kind of feeling before of just this spiritual wholeness, and it kind of scares them. And I encourage you not to be scared, and I encourage you to see how just being who you are, you know, saying what you think exactly the way that you're thinking it, especially when it comes to women, is going to increase your sex appeal, because they can feel. Women are very, very, very spiritual beings. They often don't even understand it themselves, but that's okay. Like, that's okay. That's understandable. You have to make sure that you're providing a leading way in which she can be the ocean that crashes into the mountain or the land, and you're unmovable. And she needs to know that you're that person. And if you are, that's where your sex appeal is going to come in. And of course, you need to be physically fit to some degree. Like, there are some men, though, and I'm not saying you should strive to be this way, but I'm just saying that it is true that there are some men that do not have like a great body, but they get some of the most beautiful women. And why is that? Well, because they know how to stand up to them, and they don't let the beauty of the woman faze them. And women find that attractive because most men will just slobber over her and such. I literally had a woman yesterday while she was with her boyfriend at the gym drooling at me. And you guys might think that that's like, like, okay, Thaddeus, like she was, no, she was drooling. I'm talking like literally a glob of drool coming down the side of her mouth as she's with her boyfriend, and I'm just getting done with a set, and I happen to look over and she's just staring at me drooling, and the boyfriend is just doing whatever on his phone, and I know that they're together because they were holding hands and such, so maybe they were even married, who the hell knows. Like, it's crazy what some of these women will do nowadays just to get some attention from a man that's retaining, but that's the kind of level you're going to be on. And that's just something that you're going to have to accept. And remember the Mentos at the beginning. If you, like, because the Mentos symbolize understanding and godliness. And the more godliness that you hold, you got to make sure that you have the space internally to allow things to expand. Otherwise, you're just going to break the power, and you're going to just give into lust and give into the temptations and go off on your merry way. And we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're being vessels for the Most High, and that He is going to be our priority as we move forward. And remember just that it's okay to talk about this kind of stuff. A lot of people will not want to talk about these kinds of benefits that happen with semen retention. And again, don't like the word benefit, but I have to use that for people to understand what I'm saying here. Like, this is just going to be part of growing in the journey and growing on your streak. I don't necessarily think that you should count the streaks or the days or whatever either. I would encourage you to just make it a lifestyle, unless you're in a long-term relationship or you're striving to be in a long-term relationship, and just retain until that time comes. And if you fall off, if you relapse, get back on the horse. Take what you can learn from it and then move on. Don't dwell on it. Don't get upset about yourself, not being able to go forward. Take it for what it is and move forward. All right. Okay. So with that being said, we do have in the Regal Change Academy, we've got the Art of War class series coming up. This Saturday is when we start. So that'll be the last day to join for that class. We still have the paid community in the Regal Change Academy. So you get, for the regular membership, 2 weekly Bible study classes, as well as a weekly group call where we talk about, just generally speaking, about what things are happening and where we want to go and what we're doing. And the Art of War class series is, we're going to be doing a 7-week course with this, where we're reading the Art of War, we're discussing it as a group, and we're moving forward and learning about how to apply these kinds of military strategies to our own spiritual warfare and lives like this. And we also do have the free Discord available. If you don't want to join the paid community, we have that free Discord for the Regal Change Academy, all in the links in the description box below. And I want to appreciate everybody that's tuning in, listening to these messages, and really taking in what I say to heart, and being understanding and sincerely trying to fathom what's actually being talked about here, because I get a lot of mixtures of people. Some really get it, and some people that are just starting out and trying to understand. So I try to cater my message to both people. So I appreciate your guys' support. I appreciate everybody moving from the YouTube platform over to the X and the Rumble platform. And with all that being said, peace be with you all. Till next time.